One of the more popular New Year's resolutions is to save more money in the new year. Now, for families that need help building their financial foundation, my next guest has some solid advice that should help us all get started. Carla Cargle is the founder of Genesis One Wealth Builders, and she's a regular expert on Outlook Houston. Welcome back, Carla.
Hello, how are you?
And I guess I should say Happy New Year to you and all that jazz.
Happy New Year to you as well.
And for families that are really looking to say, okay, in 2010, we're gonna make some changes, do some things to really build a foundation in the family. You say one of the things they need to do is get a financial secretary for the family.
Yes, and the reason why that I say that is because it is important that as a family unit that we know what the family has as far as a foundation. And basically the financial secretary would be someone that would record all the information, the insurance, the health insurance, the life insurance, the savings plans, retirement plans, because if something was to occur, then you need to have someone that you can resort back to that has all that information.
Let's go over that. Now, the first one you say is health insurance. Why is health insurance a part of your family's financial foundation?
Well, of course, if we needed insurance, or if we needed to go to the doctor, or we needed to have some type of surgery at the hospital, it requires what? It requires money. So health insurance is a form of money. So if we don't have health insurance, then we don't have the money to pay the hospital. So in that respect, what happens? We get this enormous hospital bill that we are stuck with. And so if you don't have the proper health insurance in place, then it will affect your financial foundation if you're not prepared for it.
And you also say you count life insurance as a part of that financial foundation as well.
Exactly, because for example, if someone was to pass away, especially one of the breadwinners within the family, so you have two things that have occurred. Of course, you are devastated because your family member has passed, but also the breadwinner is no longer there. So the income that they were bringing in, you don't have anymore. So the life insurance replaces that, as the breadwinner is no longer there to provide it. So you have the life insurance that replaces the income.
Now, if I have a family member that I know does not have life insurance, can I take out a policy on them without and need their consent? Is that correct? Do I need their consent in order to do that?
Of course. You can take out a policy on on a family member. Of course, you can't take $1 million policy. But you can take a policy out that would, of course, cover expenses such as burial, because ultimately, as the family person who would be responsible, you would probably have to pay the bill. Okay,
now you also say you need an emergency savings plan, and in this day and age, I think everyone's kind of really beginning to understand the importance of that with so many people who've lost their jobs.
Exactly. Because what the emergency savings does, again, it just supplements any bill or any expenses. If you lose your job and you have not saved enough, then of course what happens? Now you are in a position where you possibly cannot pay your mortgage or your rent or your utilities or various expenses that are required for us to live daily.
And you know what? You and I have talked about this over and over again, and the number one thing I always hear from people, I don't make enough money to save. I don't have enough money to save. What do you say to that?
Well, and when a person says that to me, my response really is, if you say that you don't have enough money to save, then you're someone that definitely needs to save. I mean, and I try to, put a little humor in it because that helps a person to relax. But ultimately, it's important that we save, because if we can dish out all our money to pay this bill and this credit card and this car note and so forth, then we have to set aside enough money for us to save. Because if we don't have the savings, then we don't have any type of cushion.
And we have questions from viewers, and we're going to get to that question, because there's a question related to that, but I want to make sure we hit the last point of retirement savings as a part of that family's financial foundation.
And the retirement is a part of the family's financial foundation because, of course, when the breadwinner retires, or in my case, I have elderly parents. So if they retire, then I want to make sure that they can live comfortably. And if they cannot live comfortably, then ultimately, as an adult child who loves her parents, then I would feel somewhat responsible. So you want to make sure that your loved one has enough to retire on and live comfortably. Otherwise, the children would probably have to supplement the income.
Now let's talk about some of the things our viewers are asking. One viewer asked, in these economic times, should we pay the minimum on credit cards and stash our cash, or should we just attempt to pay off existing credit card debt, which leaves little cash to put away for savings?
If I'm understanding the question correctly, the person asked, they are someone who is not working?
They didn't say.
Okay.
Just say, should they pay the minimum on their credit cards and put away some cash, or go ahead and pay off those credit cards and not put much in the bank?
Well, it is definitely important that you save. So if you paying off your credit cards puts you in a position where you cannot save. Then you should pay the minimum and save.
Okay, pay the minimum and save. Now, how much is enough savings so that you can take the rest and invest it? You know, what is there a point, is there a percentage of your income that you should have saved, and then after that amount you can invest the money?
Well, generally speaking, we say the 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses, depending actually on the type of employment that you have. That can vary because some jobs are more susceptible to being laid off. But if you have the type of work where you have somewhat of a comfort zone, 3 months, but 3 to 6 months generally of your monthly expenses. Some people say of your gross income, but I recommend of your monthly expenses.
So that way you'll know that you're taken care of for that period of time. Now, the other question we have, again, deals with credit card debt. Is it wise to take out a low interest loan to pay off all of your credit cards? And how do creditors look upon your credit report when you have, you know, you don't have any credit there, or you've paid off all of your accounts?
Well, generally what creditors would do, though, is that if you have closed your accounts, they view that negatively. But if you have paid off your accounts and you just don't have any outstanding balances on your credit cards, that is not necessarily viewed negatively. Now, as far as paying off your credit cards with a low interest rate, again, it really depends on how much credit card debt that you have, and if that will fit into your budget, and if you will be able to live comfortably by doing that. But ultimately, depending on the amount of the loan that you're considering, that will really determine. But if it enables you to take the monthly amounts that you're paying on all the various cards, lump it together, and you come out with less than what you are paying in those lump sums, then it probably would be a great idea.
And we're just about out of time, but just quickly, I want to make sure that people understand that credit card and credit card companies are now reviewing your credit card score.
Yes, they
your
are.
credit score,
Yes,
what, at
they
least
are.
6 months at a time, and so that your rate could change, or
Credit card companies are now actually looking at your total credit report, and then they are basing how much credit they extend you based on what you have with someone else. So you might be paying them regularly on time and have done so for years, but if they feel that you have a lot of outstanding debt with another creditor, or possibly you might be paying another creditor late, then they will oftentimes lower what you have as far as your extended credit and raise your interest rate.
yeah, all good information to know. Thanks, Carla.
Thank you.
Now, to all of you, if you want more information from Carla or great tidbits, she has them all on her website, and all you have to do is visit g1wb.com. When we come back, we've got Jonathan Sprinkles, and he's got some sprinkleisms for 2010. We'll be right back.